E-safety presentation for parents and carers. The aims of this presentation is to empower parents and carers to support their child to keep them safe online. This includes mobile phones, iPads and gaming online devices. To provide you with some practical steps to work with your child to keep them safe online. To inform you of some of the latest apps students are currently using and what you can do to support and monitor them. And finally, just to remind you of some key safeguarding contacts within the school and ways to manage any reports your child may make to you. Supporting young people online. The internet obviously is aspiring and a really positive place, has amazing resources which enable children and young people to connect, communicate and be creative with each other in a number of different ways. However, the internet's always changing and being able to keep up to date with children's usage and the technology can always be a challenge. We have grouped the risks into 4 key categories: conduct, content, contact and commercialism, and we're going to talk through them 4 now. Conduct. Children need to be aware of the impact that their online activity has both on themselves and other people, and the digital footprint that they create on the internet. It's easy to feel anonymous online, and it's important that children are aware of who is able to view and potentially share the information that may be posted. When using the internet, it's important to keep personal information safe and not share it with any strangers. Encourage your child to be respectful and also responsible when communicating with others online, and to consider how what they share might reflect on them. Discuss with your child the importance of reporting inappropriate conversations, messages, images and behaviour and how this can be done. Throughout this slide we'll talk through this in a little bit more detail. Content. Some online content is not suitable for children and may be hurtful or also harmful. This is true, obviously, content accessed and viewed via social networking sites, games, blogs and also websites. It's important for children to consider the reliability of the online material as well, and make them aware it might not always be true what's written, and it could be very biased. And children need help as they begin to access the content in this way. There can be legal consequences for using and downloading copyright content without seeking the author's permission, so really important that we know the information on that. Contact. It's important for children to realise that new friends made online may not be who they say they're going to be, and sharing personal information with them. So regularly reviewing the friend list and removing unwanted contact is a useful step, as well as obviously your privacy settings online may also allow you to customise the information that each friend is able to access and see, which you can do, which we'll talk in more detail later through this PowerPoint. And if you have concerns that your child is or has been the subject to inappropriate sexual contact or approached by another person, it's vital that you report that to the police via the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Centre, which can be seen in the website here, www.ceop.police.uk. And if your child is being bullied online, this can also be reported online and offline. Just reinforce with your child the importance of telling a trusted adult straight away if something is happening to them, or they feel that they're being bullied and something that's making them feel uncomfortable, or even if it's one of their friends being bullied online. Obviously that contact is key with that trusted adult to move forward. Commercialism. Young people's privacy and enjoyment online can sometimes be affected by advertising and marketing schemes, which can also mean inadvertently spending money online, for example, within the apps. So just encourage your child to keep their own personal information private, learn how to block both pop-ups and spam emails, turn off in-app purchases on devices where possible, and use a family email address when filling in online forms. This will be really key for you parents who don't want to rack up massive bills, and we'll talk about that further through the PowerPoint slide. But finally, just to make your child aware of some of the scams that may seek to gain access of their accounts, and advise them to be wary of following links and opening attachments in emails that appear to be from organisations such as banks and service providers. How to support. There's some real advantage in maintaining that open dialogue with your child about their internet use. If you're not sure where to begin, which I know some people might find really difficult, we've placed some obviously conversation starters and some suggestions which may help you with this. Number one, obviously ask your child to tell them about the sites they like to visit and what they enjoy doing online. Find out a little bit of extra information around that. Ask them about how they stay safe online, what tips do they have for you, and where did they learn them, what is okay and not okay to share. So can they give you any hints and tips, obviously on some of these sites that you might be also joining and unknown to them. Ask them if they know where to go for help. So do they know where to find obviously safety advice, privacy settings, how to report and block the services they use if they do feel uncomfortable with that, and encourage them to help somebody. Perhaps they can show you how to do something better online, or they might have a friend who would benefit from their help and support. And then finally, think about how you each use the internet. What more could you do, obviously, together? Is there any activities that you can enjoy as a family using the internet? What to do now? Obviously, we talked about that open dialogue with your child is really, really important, and encourage them to talk about obviously what they're doing on the internet, who they're talking to, what apps they're using, if there are any issues that they may be experiencing. You can also create a family agreement to establish some boundaries for your children and some expectations when they're on their internet. A template agreement can be found on the website there listed below, www.childnet.com. Give your child strategies to deal with online content that they may not feel comfortable with, such as turning off the screen, telling an adult who they trust, and also using the online reporting facilities. Again, we are going to go into a lot more detail on the different apps and how you can report that later through the PowerPoint. Consider using filtering software to block unwanted content coming in. In addition, filtering out, remember that discussions with your child and involvement of their internet usage are both effective ways to educate them about the internet. Encourage your child to think before they post. Obviously, that's really important, that online actions can impact not only yourselves but also the lives of others. Content posted privately online can also be publicly shared by others and remain online forever. Again, really, really important message, obviously, to pass across. Understanding the law. Some obviously online behaviours may break the law, for example, downloading and sharing content about others, being able to recommend obviously legal services for them. Familiarising yourself with obviously the privacy settings and reporting features available on popular sites, services and apps that they use. If your child is being bullied online, making sure that you save all available evidence and know where to report the incident, for example, in school, service providers or the police, if you believe that the law has been broken for that. Familiarising yourself with age rating for games and apps, which can help indicate the level of suitability and the content that's shared on there. Also see if any online reviews are available from other parents, as these may be really useful and helpful as well. And then finally, setting up a family email address that your children can use when signing up to new games and websites online. Encourage your child to use obviously nicknames where possible instead of full names online to protect their personal information, and create strong passwords for every account. 6 top tips for your children. Protect your online reputation. Use the tools provided by online services to maintain your digital footprint. Think before you post. It's really key. Obviously, you've heard that now a number of times, me going through the PowerPoint. That's really important. Obviously, content posted online can last forever and can also be shared publicly by anybody. Know where to find help. Understand the reporting services providers using blocking and deleting tools. If something happens that upsets you online, it's never too late to tell somebody. And again, we'll go through them in a bit more detail on specific apps later through this PowerPoint. Don't give in to pressure. If you lose your inhibitions, you've lost control. Once you press send, you can't take it back, which obviously is really, really important. Respect the law. Use reliable services and know how to legally access music, films and TV you want. Acknowledge your sources, use trustworthy content, and remember to give credit when using other people's work/ideas. And finally, be a critical thinker. Not everything or everyone is trustworthy on the internet. Think carefully about what you see and the experience on sites, social media and apps, and then make your own judgment from that. Online safety. So as previously mentioned, the internet is an amazing resource if used properly. If not, it can just be an absolute minefield. Obviously, as a parent and carer, it's very difficult to stay on top of the social media sites, apps, online gaming, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, and all the latest online crazes that are out there. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to talk you through some fact sheets on some of the apps that we believe are popular at the minute, and then show you some strategies that you can do, obviously, to make sure they stay safe. Here are a list of apps. How many can you identify that are on there? Obviously, there's a couple that might be more familiar than others. Do you actually know what apps your child has on their mobile phones or iPads, or what they're currently using? And finally, do you actually know how safe the apps are? Obviously, it's really important that we know the safety and obviously the content on there, but making sure that you're familiar with all that. But we are going to go through that in a little bit more detail in the later slides. TikTok. What is it? Oh, it's a video sharing app that's used with children and teenagers right now. You can lip sync to music and do comedy sketches and add effects to your videos. You can also gain followers, or some people know them as fans, and watch other people's videos. The age recommendation, obviously for this, is 13 and above, but it's quite easy for young people to sign up to for that. What are the main things to watch out for? Well, sexual lyrics and swearing in songs, content about eating disorders known as pro-ana, and obviously bullying content. Challenges that users take part in are sometimes potentially very dangerous. You might have seen some of them out there. Emojis that are seen as sexually suggestive, like an aubergine, just on there. Obviously, that's something to watch out for. And under 16s can't send or receive private messages, but once users made contact, like through the comments on videos, they can still switch to another app like Snapchat or WhatsApp and swap images and videos, obviously, together. So that's something to be watching out for. And as well, have they made sure they put the correct age range when they've signed up to this site. Step to keep your child safe, TikTok. So use family pairing, also known as family safety mode. Parents can control some of the features. Obviously, underneath there, it kind of tells you how to do that. I'm not going to read through it, but you can see for yourself, or you can pause this PowerPoint presentation now to familiarise yourself with that and maybe go through that. Keep your account set to private and limit profile information. So account for users aged 13 to 15 are normally set private by default. This means that only followers that your child has approved can see your child's videos. But encourage your child to only accept following requests from people that know and trust. Obviously, it's really important that lots of our young people want to get as many followers and fans as they can. So it's really important that you're not just letting anybody see some of the content that you're putting on there. And again, ways to check that is just underneath what you can do on your child's phone regarding the privacy settings around that. Have you set age limits so your child doesn't see inappropriate content? Again, if you're using the family pairing, it's really easy to do, and it talks it underneath there, obviously restricted modes and following the steps in the app. Have you considered setting a time limit on the use? Again, through the family pairing setting, you can do this on your child's phone. Again, it's through the digital wellbeing section on that, so hopefully that will help. Obviously, consider setting that time limit on there so they're not overusing it. Restricting app purchases to block spending. Obviously, that's not one thing that we want to have, but just making sure that your children aren't spending on your card or credit cards. Obviously, you can just double check that you haven't got that. It is on different devices, obviously, slightly different. So on there, we've put for iPhones what you need to do, and also on Androids, just to make sure that obviously they're checked, and obviously you've got no authorized purchases for that. And checking settings on interactions like duets, direct messages and comments. Duets are where obviously users reply to one person's video and another one shares it. The videos appear all together side by side. It's like having a private account. Automatically means you can do it. This feature has not been turned off for users under 16 and set to followers only by default. So just being mindful of that. Your child can also change settings for comments on the videos via the privacy section. Again, that shows you how to do that just slightly below. And again, it goes back to the family pairing setting. You can do everything through the family pairing settings. Finally, just make sure your child knows how they can report the content and users for that. So filters aren't perfect. Just make sure your child knows how to report any harmful or upsetting content or users that might be saying inappropriate things. Make sure you both know the rules too. TikTok bans sexually explicit content, bullying, graphic content, etc. But there's a simple way, obviously, how to report a user, delete a fan, block some users, or report a video or a comment below there. So again, should you need to, just pause the video now and you can obviously set that up. Snapchat, what is it? People might have heard of this. It's an app obviously for sending photos and videos, also known as snaps. You can also send text messages on there, obviously, and the story feature lets obviously users share photos and videos with all the contacts at once. Snaps disappear after being opened, usually within seconds. So if it's sent directly to obviously the student, obviously they'll see it for a period of time, but then it will get deleted. But stories don't disappear for roughly around 24 hours. Images and messages aren't automatically saved to the phone, however they can be saved, so just being mindful of that. And obviously the minimum age of obviously Snapchat is 13, but it's easy again to sign up if you're younger. There seems to be a common theme with lots of these apps, It makes it really easy for young people to sign up to. What are the main things to watch out for? There's a high risk of seeing sexual content on there, and obviously risks of bullying. Your child's location could be shared automatically with the contacts and put them in danger if they have strangers on there as friends on the app, so people can see if that's not turned off. And there's obviously a risk of children being groomed by strangers into sharing pictures and information about themselves. Gangs also use apps like Snapchat to groom and recruit children for child sexual exploitation. Steps to keep your child safe online, obviously for Snapchat. Tell your child to only use it with real friends. So obviously we know that anyone can pretend to be someone that they're not. So just knowing people actually around the area, not actually trying to get as many friends on Snapchat as possible. Using the privacy settings, again, you can see that by default only your friends can see your Snapchat stories, but you can default it even more on certain people who can't see them parts of the stories as well. And obviously the links just below there around the location. Choosing ghost mode and turning everything like that off, because it can almost limit you to what street you're on and what house you're actually in at that moment in time. So just making sure that that's all changed on your privacy settings. Talk to your child about sexting and being careful about obviously what they share. So even though images disappear on Snapchat, they can be screenshotted and shared outside the original sender's control. So your son or daughter might send an image on there, and obviously it can be screenshotted and it can be kept. And that's what we talked about around the digital footprint that can be left. So just remind your child to think carefully about the images that they share and who with. Before they share anything, tell them to ask, would I be happy for other people to see this? If the answer is no, obviously then we would recommend them not sending or sharing that image. In particular, make sure your child knows not to take, share or view naked or sexually explicit pictures of himself and another child, either voluntary or if asked by somebody else. Obviously, this is known as sexting and it is illegal, even when the person doing it is a child. It can also be distressing for the child who's been the victim of sexting or to see an inappropriate image that someone else has shared towards them. Make sure your child knows how to use the reporting and blocking functions. So again, to report a snap on story, press and hold it down, tap the flag, then explain the problem. And again, it tells you a little bit more underneath how to remove and block a friend if you need to do that. WhatsApp, what is it? Well, it's a multi-platform messaging app that lets users make video calls, make videos, send text messages. What we're really interested in is WhatsApp's minimum age is 16, but obviously we know a lot of younger people are on WhatsApp at this moment in time. So a couple of things to watch out for. Bullying, obviously, particularly in these large group chats. So it seems to be that everybody wants to be in a big group chat, and there's obviously lots of bullying and things going on there that shouldn't be. Seeing content of sexual nature or showing violence or hatred, so just being careful of obviously what people are posting into these large group chats or to sending to individuals. A new option for your messages to disappear after 7 days. So again, this could make it harder to track, obviously bullying. Your child might not share things they wouldn't see, otherwise it might disappear. So you just need to make sure that obviously if anything like that, it is screenshotted and they don't think just because it's going to disappear that it's going to be gone, because people do save images like that. Sharing their live location, particularly people they don't know in person. So again, another common theme, but sharing stuff with people who you don't know. Really, really important to avoid that. Spam or hoax messages and being exposed to strangers through group chats. So again, some of these group chats, loads of people are in them. They don't know who they're talking to and who they're having conversations with. Steps to keep your child safe with WhatsApp. Keep the personal information and location private. So again, underneath there, by default, WhatsApp shows your profile picture, your status, when you were last on it, if the person's read the message. So encourage your child only to share this information with the contacts and be careful about who they talk to on the app. And again, as anyone could pretend to be anyone online. Again, the ways to check that is, it is slightly different for iPhones and Androids. So just having a quick look, which is the most appropriate for you there, and just following the step-by-step guide there for you. Reminding your child to be careful about what they share. Again, it's easier to forward message, photo, video to other people on WhatsApp. Even if your child sets a message to automatically disappear or delete after sharing it, the person they send it to could still screenshot it, forward it, or save it. So just being really, really careful. And again, going back to that question, would I want others to see what I'm about to send? If the answer is no, then not sending either that message, that image, that video, etc. Some further things, obviously remind your child that can lead the group chats. So obviously if they see something they're not comfortable with in the group chat, or they're in a group chat with people they don't know, just ask them to lead the group. Obviously ways they can do that is just slightly below. So again, it's slightly different to iPhones to Androids, but really, really simple, just to exit the groups. Make sure your child knows how to report and block people. So when they first receive a message from an unknown number, they have the option to report it. If it's someone who your child's contact is upsetting them, making them feel uncomfortable, you can report or block it at any point. WhatsApp won't tell the user they've been blocked/reported. But again, to do that, iPhone and Androids are slightly different, and you can see obviously that below. And finally, encouraging your child to be alert of spam and hoax messages. So they can appear from contacts as well as people they don't know. Tell your child to watch out for messages that ask them to tap on a link, share personal information, ask them to forward any messages on, say they have to pay to use WhatsApp, and looking out for different things that they signpost on there. Fortnite, those who might have heard of it, obviously it's an online video game where people compete to be the last person standing. Its age recommendation is 12 and above, although you don't have to provide your age when creating an account, so younger people can still use it. Main things to watch out for on like gamings and in particular Fortnite. You might have seen it on the news, but communication between players, obviously you talk to each other, messaging, headsets, microphones, still speak to strangers and be at risk of cyberbullying, also known as online bullying. The in-app purchases, so children building up large bills on the parents' accounts by buying lots of items on there. So again, just being really, really careful that all of them are disabled and you're in control of what your son or daughter is purchasing on them apps. And the game's addictive nature. Obviously, there's been lots of stories of children staying up all night to play, falling asleep in lessons. Some people obviously say it's down, obviously, to that feel that they feel like they're in the game. But you can play with your friends. It's because it's obviously different, and it just makes you feel kind of addicted to that. So steps to keep your child safe for Fortnite: use the parental controls on your gaming device. So again, most devices allow you to set time limits on a gameplay, set age limits, and restrict the in-app purchases. Battles in the games normally last around 20 minutes. That can kind of give you a little bit of a starting point when to set the time limits for. But just making sure that the children aren't spending hours and hours and hours on there, and who they're speaking to. Is it friends? Do you know them? Etc. Turn off the voice chat feature. Speak to your child to make sure they understand how to use the feature safely. Encourage them to follow the steps below. They meet someone who is obviously offensive or inappropriate in the game. Obviously, there's ways in which they can do that to disable the in-game voice chat. You can see it just slightly below there. You can also mute individual players. So if you feel that it's just one person in particular, you can mute them out of the game. So finally, obviously, make sure your child knows how to report inappropriate behaviour. To report the players who make the child feel uncomfortable. Obviously, there's certain bits there, but you can select on the menu icon, and it says report feedback. Really, really simple. And then you can submit what you want and send in that report. What to do about online bullying, also known as cyberbullying. Obviously, encourage your child to talk to you if someone says anything that's upsetting or hurtful to them, or encourage them to talk to somebody, whoever that might be, whether it's a school teacher, whether it's a friend. That's obviously really, really important. Looking out for signs that they maybe feel like they're being bullied, like being afraid or reluctant to go to school, feeling a bit nervous, losing confidence, becoming quite distressed and withdrawn, not wanting to go out with their friends, or losing sleep. And just tell the school about any bullying that your child experiences. It's really important, obviously, when it is online and cyberbullying, that there is evidence there for it. So there's a few ways in which you can save images and messages as evidence, so I'll quickly put them below. But using other devices to quickly take a photo of the image or message. So again, on Snapchat, it does go after a couple of minutes. So if you know that something's coming through, maybe have another mobile phone there to take a picture or get ready to screenshot the image. You have got to just be careful on Snapchat. It does tell the other person if you have screenshotted that picture as well. So tapping the message, quickly save it. Other people know, obviously, from the grey background. So just being really careful again over that. And obviously taking screenshots quickly, which we've already talked about. What can I do if I think my child's being targeted by a gang? So be alert to changes in your child, such as having new unexplained possessions, changing friendships group, regular behaviour, mood changes, any unexplained injuries. And just share your concerns with the school immediately and report to the designated safeguarding leads, or DSLs as they're sometimes known. We will go through them contacts further through this PowerPoint. But you can also contact the NSPCC for advice or email them as well. What to do if your child reports a problem to you? Just first of all, stay calm, listen to what they've got to say. Make some notes or some details to ask them, so some follow-up questions. This needs to include any screenshots, dates, times, anything else that you feel is relevant. So gathering the whole picture there, so you've got it all. And then reporting it to the academy or the school or the police as soon as possible if you feel that a crime has been committed. So who are the safeguarding teams in the school? Obviously, Mrs. Devakaran is the Vice Principal and she's the designated safeguarding lead for the academy. Mrs. French, obviously the pastoral leader, she's the deputy safeguarding lead, but there's also a range of other staff within the building who are also safeguarding trained. For example, Miss Ramadan, the attendance and admins officer, Miss Baker, our health and wellbeing officer, Miss Wilcott, who's our SENCO, myself, Mr. Whitehead, who's assistant principal, obviously in Cardiff Key Stage 3, and we also do have a family schools liaison officer, which is PC Drew, that comes into the academy regular. So how can you report an issue that you have? So if there's any safeguarding concerns you wish to report outside the academy hours, please email safeguarding@harrisrainham.org.uk. Obviously, failure to that, you can obviously contact the school as well from it. To report an absence, obviously email attendance@harrisrainham.org.uk. For general inquiries or some complaints, please use obviously info@harrisrainham.org.uk. And for support for some students, we've got obviously here for you at harrisrainham.org.uk should they need further support. Some other useful websites that I've placed on there that you can have a look at as well, some cyberbullying advice, parents supporting children online, so there's a wide range of resources on there. Internet Matters, obviously a useful tool showing parents how to set up some of them parental controls on a range of devices, obviously that might help. Reporting your concerns over your child being groomed or sexually exploited, and subjects of inappropriate sexual contact or approached by another person, again, just getting in contact with the police via that website, www.cops.police.uk, for any concerns regarding that. Finally, thank you for listening. I hope you found the information useful, and as always, if you have any concerns, please get in contact with the school. I am going to leave it there. Like I said, we are available. If you need anything, I will just put the last slide on just so that you can see.